This is Charlie Talby with Talby Consulting.
Greg Kitson with Mind's Eye Graphics.
Pierre with Blue Moon.
This is Marcia Derryberry with Impressions Magazine.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys.
Two Regular Guys.
Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted
by Terry Combs and
Aaron Montgomery.
It's the first and most listened to favorite weekly internet radio show in the industry. Take a listen.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. It's Friday, January 26th, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone. You can also find me over at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info, as well as at sublysource.com. Today we'll be chatting about niche markets in the digital age, Terry. It's going to be a pretty exciting conversation, and something we always love doing here on Two Regular Guys is the niche market segment.
Aaron, at the end of some of my seminars, I'll if it's whether it's screen printing or direct-to-garment printing, I'll talk about a few niche markets, and at the end of the seminar, people are packing up to go to their next seminar. But whenever I've talked niche markets, the notebooks come back out, and people are just like scribbling down everything. So not only do we love talking about niche markets, but I think people love hearing about them. But hey, a couple of news items, Aaron. I want to do a shout out to Tamir and Maxi Garb from Israel. They were attending the ISS Long Beach show, and they sought me out because they said they always listen to the show. And actually, I talked to them a couple of times during the show, and appreciate them listening there. And also Steve Ratliff, he's with Inkslide in Bakersfield, California, and he stopped by the Equipment Zone booth to tell me he's a regular listener as well. So I wanted to say thanks to Tamir, Maxi, and Steve for being regular listeners to the Two Regular Guys. And hey, we love to talk to folks who listen to the show. Especially interested right now here, Aaron, in maybe some of our international listeners to reach out to us at info@2regularguys.com and let us know where you are and that you're a regular listener of the show.
Absolutely. And or hit us up on social media there too, Terry, and heck, comment right on the Facebook video that we're doing here would be great. Exactly. If you're up at this time of the day. Well, one other quick thing, Terry, we're going to close the show out with a popular segment we've been doing for over a year now. We started it back in 2017 and are carrying it on into 2018 here, and called Five Things. And it's where we just talk about five things to kind of start the conversation and keep things going. And so it's been lively, and I think people really enjoy it. And I know you and I really enjoy it. And it's your week this week, and you're going to talk to us about five things to speed production for a DTG printer. So I'm interested to hear that. I've not read ahead and cheated. Maybe I have. But.
Well, maybe I'm doing these five things because Impressions Magazine called me last week and said, hey, we need an article. We need it really quick, and we need it on direct-to-garment printing. So as I was jotting down ideas because it was about improving your production, I thought, hey, This is five things, so here we go. Hey, we want to thank everybody for listening. We are so pleased to bring this weekly show to you since February 2013. Hard to believe, and we do our best to avoid rants and lecturing. And we would love for you to visit our website. It is 2regularguys.com. Check out the show notes from previous podcasts, and we always have links whenever somebody's we have a great guest. We'll have links to them as well. Lots of great information there. We are always looking for suggestions for future shows. And if you could do that through our Contact Us page or through any social media, and social media, you can always find us at 2 Regular Guys. If you're catching live video via Facebook Live, we would love to hear your comments, insights, questions, and suggestions about today's topic. And we're going to be talking about niche markets, so we want to hear about your niche markets or niche markets you're interested in. But before we dive in, Aaron, let's hear from our title sponsor for 2018, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association, SGIA.
Connected, empowered, inspired.
That's you after ThreadX, powered by SGIA in Palm Springs, California, February 25th through the 28th, 2018. This new event, designed by and for garment decorators, explores not just how to sell products, but how to get noticed.
The focus is on marketing, branding, and consumer trends in this omni-channel retail age.
Join the two regular guys to satisfy your appetite for actionable inspiration with speakers including Johnny Cupcakes, Tim Williams of the YR Store, and many more. This is a must-attend event if you plan on seeing your company into the future. Plan on attending ThreadX, powered by SGIA, in Palm Springs, California, February 25th through the 28th, 2018. Go to threadx18.com for more details and to register.
We can't wait to see you there.
All right. Well, Terry, that's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you're ready for the event from what you showed me before. I don't know if you want to share with the audience.
I do, Aaron, because you're always making fun of my junior yellow legal pads. So I brought enough for everybody at ThreadX. So I'm going to be passing out legal pads, and for anybody who's listening to the podcast, I just held up about 36.
36?
Yeah, yellow legal pads, and I guess I'll have more in the car.
There's going to be 300 or some odd, maybe even more than that. So you're going to have to bring a.
We're going to need some sponsorship then for that. Someone's going to need to sponsor the legal pads.
All right. Well, first, I want to thank Adam for giving us some feedback. I just want to make sure our sound was okay. I had some problems with another feed of mine earlier, so I want to make sure that this wasn't being affected. But I think we're doing all good. So thanks for the feedback, Adam, and thanks for checking us out. One other thing, Terry, I don't know if I didn't even talk to you about this or not, but if anybody does want to jump on and talk about their digital niche, I'm going to slap the link to that into the comments right now, and you can come and just hang in the lobby there, and we'll see. We may or may not. So we're being brave here, but
that could certainly backfire.
Yeah, I remember when we did that with. Blab, when we were on Blab before it died. We had some interesting conversations with some interesting folks. So.
Yeah, a lot of zooming into their faces up against their the camera so that all we saw was an eyeball, and we don't need any of that.
No, a little awkward. All right, well, Terry, let's dive into this niche markets in the digital age. We talked a lot, as I said, this is one of our favorite topics. It always gets us excited. It's kind of something that, people really enjoy too, because it helps them get going. But today we want to get more specifics and discuss specifically about digital decorating. And we're probably going to be really focused from there, but kind of explain a little bit more for us, Terry.
Well, yeah, as I've quoted Mark Coudray, I believe at every show since he was on our show talking about digital decorating.
Reach out to him and tell him he's going to have to get a royalty check from you.
Exactly. I actually saw him briefly at ISS Long Beach, but it was so darn busy I didn't get the chance to talk to anybody. But as Mark said, if you're not part of digital decorating, you're going to be left behind. And hey, is screen printing going away or any other type of decorating right now going away? It's not. No. But the world is different now, and Skynet, Amazon has changed the way people look at things, and I explain that to folks in the Equipment Zone booth, at trade shows all the time, that customers want it custom, they want one, and they want it today, and it's a whole different world than it was 10 years ago, and if you're not doing digital decorating, you will be left behind for sure. And Aaron, you and I are going to be doing a similar presentation at the DAC show that I guess we need to do a little work on here sometime in the near future.
Yeah. We've got the handout ready. We just have to fill in the details.
Well, I'm sure that we won't have any problem with that. I know that we actually do have scheduled to meld our two parts of this presentation together, and it's always a lot of fun. If you're out there and you're planning to attend the DAC show, make sure that you come to the Two Regular Guys presentation. I think we're doing it in the afternoon at all 3 shows.
Yeah,
it'll be around 2:30.
2:20, 2:30,
Okay.
on the Friday of the show.
And if it coincides with one of Jimmy Lamb's presentations, just come to ours. Jimmy, are you listening?
I'm going to tell him that now. I think I do have my first seminar is at the same time as one of his. So we'll battle. One of us is. I know yours is your. Tell us about the first one again.
I'm doing one on basically what you need to buy if you want to be a screen printer, because everybody hands you this sheet that says, okay, here's what you need, and then they'll bring it to me and say, do I really need all these things? No, you don't. Let me pull this up and this up and this up.
Yeah. So yours is earlier in the morning, and then
correct.
I've got a digital marketing seminar.
I think mine's about 9 or 10, something like that.
Okay. But all right. Well, so this is going to be fun, and like I said, we've got to get our stuff together. And if anybody that we've done a couple of seminars together. It's always interesting. My slides are paragraphs and lots of goings on, and Terry's is the picture in like one word.
Mine are simply to keep me on track, but which I obviously don't do on this show, but. And then you also create your slides in Google Docs or Google Slides or whatever it is, and then the font never translates to a PowerPoint.
Yeah, but I've got it so we can do it in Google Docs now, so awesome. We'll be all good, because then we can collaborate.
Very good.
Well, Aaron, let's get into this.
Yeah, well, let me talk a little bit first about. I'm going to talk about direct-to-garment printing and what's direct-to-garment printing capable of doing, and it's short runs, it's full color image, it's repeatability, for that customer that's going to come back and come back and come back. And some of the products for direct-to-garment printing, of course, 100% cotton t-shirts, high cotton content hoodies and sweats and sweatpants, baseball caps. A lot of people don't realize you can do baseball caps with direct-to-garment. Jeans, and I say jeans because we display that in the equipment zone booth, and people look at it like, wait, what? You can print on jeans? Well, jeans are 100% cotton. Yeah. Artist canvases, hey, can I make it work on other things? I can, but primarily the inks are made for fabric. So those are the products that we're looking for.
So you're not printing golf balls or phone cases.
No phone cases. I always do show my phone case in seminars. There's my Walking Dead phone case, my new one. And I know I should have my Two Regular Guys phone case on, but
that's okay.
But I always show it.
We'll get you one of these that you can attach there, the credit card holder, nice. with the little cleaning cloth.
And you have a credit card in there. Look at that! Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I do need one of those, but I always tell people, can I print a phone case? I could make it work. I could paint on some pre-treat and print with the minimal amount of ink, and I could dry it with a hair dryer, and then I could go to Ace Hardware and get some acrylic spray and spray it on there, or I could do it the way everybody else on the planet does it, and with sublimation. So. Yeah.
And you can, make money that way too. But anyways.
Exactly, that would be a high-priced phone case if I went through that process.
yeah, totally. Okay, so we've got direct-to-garment, we've got the capabilities. You think we've got that covered. So I'm going to talk about sublimation. We're going to hit on a couple of the other digital decorating pieces at the end, I think. So we'll see how it goes here. But sublimation is definitely what I'm mostly involved with right now. So that's where I'm going to start. So it's similar to direct-to-garment in the short run, full color, and those kinds of things, but with one less color, so we don't print white. I'm just getting that out there.
16 million and one.
16 million and one. Yes, that's a good inside joke for we'll tell it another time. But now the one, so you've got one more color. I've got a lot more durability. And then there's no hand to the sublimation process. It's actually becomes part of the substrate. Now we do, unlike Terry with his cotton over there, we're going to need polyester or a polyester coating and a white base to start. So we can't print on dark garments. We can't print on wood and that hasn't been specially coated and all sorts of different stuff like that. But there are lots and lots of garments being created with sublimation. I don't know if you've ever heard of a little company called Under Armour. If that sounds familiar to anybody, but they've kind of pushed the performance fabrics into the public consciousness, and therefore really driven a lot of sublimation printing onto garments. Because those are all polyester garments, and there you go. And it's just a lot more too. Garments are certainly a big part of it, and a lot of people are doing garments. And I know a lot of our listeners are garment folks. But there's so much more you can do with it, from hard goods to things like mugs. I've been drinking out of my Pick the Gift coffee mug here. This is not a Yeti, okay, just so I don't get sued. This is a double-walled vacuum stainless steel tumbler with the Two Regular Guys logo printed on it, all been sublimated.
Is that their slogan? Not a Yeti.
Not a Yeti. I'll have to tell you a story about that one offline too. The Chinese don't quite understand.
The two of us.
Yeah, I know. The Chinese don't quite understand the whole. That's a brand name kind of thing, and you can't really call it that. So when things come through customs, they get a little testy. But
it's like Jell-O.
Yeah, exactly. So cell phone cases, photo panels, mouse pads. We could be here the rest of the show just listing off the different products that can be sublimated. But again, everything has to be polyester coated. So those are the kind of the capabilities of sublimation. And good. We've got some questions coming in here, Terry. So I'll get those posted up.
Sure. Hey, and I want to comment also. Most of our listeners are already decorators, but we do certainly have listeners who are thinking about getting into the industry. And when you mentioned hand, I just wanted to explain that means the hand of a garment means if you can feel the image or not. So a soft hand means that you can't feel the print. If you have a sweatshirt that somebody printed with a real thick layer of plastisol ink, that has hand that you can feel the print on the garment. And Aaron, I wanted to ask one thing real quick too. I know that you have a strong feeling about this, and I have people ask me fairly regularly, well, isn't there a spray that I can spray onto a product and sublimate it?
Yeah, there is, and there definitely. Actually, probably several. I know of a couple that are marketed pretty regularly. But it comes back to, like you were saying with your phone case, yes, you can do it, but can you actually do it and make money with it? And I just don't think that's the case. It's definitely more of a hobby product. I know some people use it, so I'm not throwing stones. I'm not saying you can't use it, but can you use it repeatedly? If somebody comes to you and says, I want 1,000 of these widgets and that you're going to have to coat with this, it's just not going to happen. Because what happens is the coating, if it doesn't get on there perfectly even, the colors are going to look different from one side to the next because the coating is going to hold more color and stuff like that. So it's kind of an art form. And therefore, like I said, it just has never really made its way into the mainstream because it's just not repeatable enough to be production friendly. Can I use it? Absolutely. People are using it all the time. Would I use it? No. I mean, I can find just about anything I could dream of as a sublimation ready blank. So there we go. Go ahead, Terry.
I was just going to say that you said there was a question somebody asked, and I was talking while it popped up on the screen. All I saw was DTG.
So let's cover a couple of those real quick while we got them here. Adam has a couple of great questions for us. I'm going to go back to the first one, which was about DTG, Terry, and I'll pop it back up there again. Moving forward with DTG machines, will there be a machine that will have the ability to print on poly pieces in the future? And I know you've talked about that on some other shows, but maybe give us a little update.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam, that's an excellent question. And right now today, we can print on a lot of polyester, but it's a long process. It's multiple steps to do it. I'm going to tell you that by probably halfway through this year, there's going to be opportunity with pre-treats to be able to do most any polyester. And I can't talk about it much more than that. I've talked to some industry folks, though, who say that it's coming. And here's the great thing about it. It's not going to be a new printer. It's not going to be a new ink. It will be a pre-treat. And everybody that I talk to in the industry says that. So it's around the corner. You can make it work right now today, but it's not profitable right now today.
Awesome. All right. One other a couple more, but Martha Taylor's joining us, and Martha, hopefully you can hear me this time. So sorry, I don't know what happened over on the other side, but good morning and great to see you.
Martha, if there's a little speaker with a line through it, that might be the problem.
Oh boy. Making friends and influencing people by Terry.
No, it is always us. It's always us. Just kidding, Martha. We have a lot of technical difficulties.
I was going to say,
we have
this
history.
is the two regular guys, Terry. We're known for our technical difficulties. So,
Exactly.
All right. So the other question that Adam had before we keep going here, and the Vapor is working on a colored apparel that is able to have sublimation applied to it instead of just white apparel. Is that common yet, or is that something still being tested? So Adam, the answer there, Vapor's got, in fact, a lot of people have, dyed polyester fabrics, and, Vapor's got some. I'm not familiar with a specific, like something that they're working on to make it work on darker garments. You can definitely print onto any kind of colored fabric and make that work. What happens is if you're printing, let's say you've got a light blue shirt and you're printing yellow ink onto it, you're transferring yellow ink onto it, you're going to have a green print. So there's just no white background. And sorry, there's a comment that just popped up that made me laugh. So, oh, Martha, I'll bring Terry over to you and you can explain it to him. Sorry. So Adam, let me just finish there. So what happens is we just can't get, the detailed color. So again, I'm not aware of something specific that's being worked on. I have not heard of anybody actually having any progress with a white ink in sublimation or some sort of a base. But I will see Chris Bernay of Vapor at the ThreadX event, and I will definitely ask that question of him and see if I can bring some more details to that. If there's something going on out there that I'm not aware of, it could happen. I didn't make it to ISS, so I'm kind of under a rock now these days. So. All right. So what we were laughing about is when Terry was giving Martha a hard time about the speaker thing. She mentioned, I'm at the control panel of $1 million MRI machine. I think I have the speaker figured out. Well played,
apologies, Martha. I was just teasing you.
She knows we like to tease and joke, so I think we're okay. All right, Terry. Well, let's talk. So we talked a little bit about the capabilities. We covered a little extra ground. I appreciate all the comments, Adam and Martha and everybody joining in. This is awesome. That's what we love, to kind of make this interactive. But let's keep going down our list here too. So based on the capabilities of what we've talked about, Terry, tell us some niche markets. Let's get to some nuts and bolts here.
Yeah, well, Aaron, with direct-to-garment printing, repeatability, which, basically just about every direct-to-garment printer on the market has a RIP software or a driver that will archive images, which means that you go click on that image again, and you don't have to resave it. You don't have to go in and change the settings. It'll print it exactly the way you printed it previously. So, what are some of those markets where that would be effective? And every Monday, I'm sitting here and I'm, this time of year in Arizona, I've got my sliding doors open, and I'll have to close them by noon because it's going to be about 80 today. But sorry, everybody out
there. We got to get an actual email for people to send hate mail to. Two regular guys _ Terry.
Well, every Monday morning I have to close all the doors and windows because I don't have grass outside. I have rocks, but apparently there's a lot of debris or something off my balcony because they stand there with the blowers for it feels like an hour, just like blowing debris off the rocks. And I see those guys and I think, man, that's the perfect marketplace. That's a perfect niche because they need to replace those shirts, and they wear long sleeve shirts, because they work in the sun. They need to replace those shirts on a regular basis. What a perfect niche for those guys. And just the other day I was thinking about this, us doing this show, Aaron, and I passed one of the, I live in an apartment complex in Scottsdale, and one of the maintenance guys passed me, and there's 2 or 3 maintenance people that work here in the complex, full time, and if they wanted them to wear shirts that identified them, because they knock on your door and say, hey, we need to come in and check this or check that. Well, if they had a shirt that identified them, that would be helpful for everybody that lives here. And no screen printer is going to want that order, for 2 maintenance people. What are they? Even if they had 5 shirts each, that's a 10-piece order. The screen printer doesn't want that, but I do as a direct-to-garment printer. And then, where I live, there's complex after complex after complex, and each one of them has 1 or 2 or 3 maintenance people. Well, you could sell to all those people and just repeat every time they need new garments. You're basically their warehouse. They don't want to buy 48 shirts and have them in there and then find out, well, the new maintenance person's a medium and all I have is large and extra large. So what other types of
property was sold to another company and have to change the logo or
exactly. And this would be steady business, just dealing with all these folks. And so my thought was, well, what other similar businesses could you service like that? And, hey, I live in Phoenix, so there are probably 10,000 pool service companies, and all of them have 1, 2, 5 employees, and again, so not great for screen printers, but great for somebody that can do little short runs and moving services. When I was going to get my mail the other day, and there were about 5 window washers out doing the main building here. And I thought, what a perfect customer for that repeatable business. And were they wearing identifying apparel? No. But should they? Yes. So somebody out there should be calling all these window washers and saying, hey, I can do shirts for you. You only need 2? Yeah, I can do 2. You need 10? I can do 10. And listeners out there, can you guys think of any other types of businesses that have repeatability like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with something right now, and I'm not. But one other, because I had something else stuck in my head too, is that you're talking about DTG, but this would certainly work with somebody that's got a toner transfer system, sure, or even print and cut. If you're doing left chest logos, those are small and don't have that, don't need to have that big thick fill and some of those things. So any of those digital methods would be appropriate there. So we'll see if anybody comes up with any other good ones. So you got pool service, moving services, window washers. I got nothing. All right. I'm sure there's lots of others. I know there's lots of others.
That was a pause for any of our listeners who wanted to add. They're not. So let's move on.
Let's move on. All right. Perfect. Well, Terry, I'm going to, you had mentioned that repeatability, and repeatability is certainly a capability of sublimation, but it's not something I would typically, people aren't really out there kind of going after that market necessarily, because of the fact that, like you said, a lot of times, those maybe are a dark garment or something like that. And sublimation is not specifically in that realm, but it could be, and certainly have some repeatability. You can get a lot of those. But where I see kind of typical sublimation shining is in the personalization arena, because of the fact that there are so many different things you can do. You can personalize a lot of different things, and So what I mean by personalization is that, you can have a job that's 50 coffee mugs, and every single coffee mug can be different. I'll use my coffee mug as an example here. I've got the Pick the Gift logo, but if you can see it, it's got my name on it right there. And maybe even my email address. Oh, okay. My email is there, everybody. So that kind of personalization is what's key, because what this does is, this, I don't know, I'm just going to throw some random numbers out there, so don't hold me to this. I'm not saying you should sell mugs for $10, but let's say this is a $10 mug. I put my name on it, or I have my own, special thing that's for me, and I love this mug now, that kind of thing. Now that mug becomes a $15 mug or a $20 mug because of the personalization. So personalization, I think, is a real area to focus on for sublimation. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of follow your lead there and give people a couple of ideas. And I brought some visuals here, Terry, since we are doing video. So for those of you on the podcast listening in, make sure you flip over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/2regularguys, and you can kind of see some of these visuals. But this is one of my favorites. So I don't know if you do a lot of shopping on Jane.com, Terry, or group deals. Is that
I'm pretty much Skynet/Amazon.
Well, I don't believe you buy a ton of women's fashion, as far as I know.
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, if you do,
I pay for a lot of women's fashion.
Okay, so you've probably bought something
but I don't
not even knowing.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Well, here is a great, so this is a garden flag, just a little 12 by 18 hanging garden flag. It's got a cool little, it's going to be hard because it's a little bit bigger. So I'll see if I can get it a little further away. It's still tough. But as you can see, there's a name in the middle of it. Okay. Well, I'm going to drop the first one. Same design, new name. So
nice.
This person ran an event on Jane.com, and that's what they do. They call them events. And basically these events run for 2 or 3 days, and they put up, 10 different kind of designs, and then allow people to, at this particular event, they were able to choose the big initial in the middle, and then whatever the name is they wanted across that part. And then with sublimation, it didn't matter. We could run 1,000 flags. If I remember right, I think this was actually a 1,500 flag order.
Wow.
That this person, all they did is come up with a bunch of designs and then send it over to Pick the Gift, and we printed. But it's sublimation, you can do that kind of thing. So those are two, Jane.com, and then Group Deals is another one. It's GROOPDEALZ, and there's several others out there. Zulily is another name that pops up from time to time, and more of those personalization event sites coming all the time.
It seems like the hardest part of that whole job would be getting the right flag in the right envelope to ship out.
Yes, it is actually, and I've got stories to tell about that. Lots of fun. You don't want somebody in that part of your business that has a hard time reading small print, or some of the monograms. It's like, that's a J? What? Anyways, all right. So another one where personalization comes in. Like school or summer camp pajama pants was something that done, and started talking to the person, and they're like, oh man, we just can't justify that amount for a pair of PJ pants. I said, well, what if every single one of those PJ pants had the kid's name down the leg of it? All of a sudden, that $15 that was hard to swallow became $25, no problem, and they're willing to wait a little while for it, kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly.
So there's another one, summer camp PJ pants, any of those schools or those kinds of things, and you could even wrap that into a fundraiser for them. And then another one of my favorite projects that I've been involved with just over this last holiday season was able to do a whole bunch of mugs for Twitter. And one side had the the Twitter bird on it. And the other side is, so this was gifts for employees of one of the groups in there. The other side had an emoji for each one of these, their own emoji with their Twitter handle underneath it. And again, the mug cost was secondary to the fact that now every single one of these people had their own very own.
And they get to select their own emoji to put on there?
Yeah, I think they were also kind of promoting some new emoji tool or something like that that I think this group worked on. So they had
that's very cool.
This was, it was a very interesting project. It wasn't just 50 people. This was a 1,500 people group that
wow.
So 1,500 different emojis, and kind of corralling all of that together was fun. So there's a few things that you can go out and start doing with the personalization aspect of sublimation.
All right. Well, Aaron, one of the other areas that I mentioned was short runs, and actually this one came about because I was just yesterday talking to someone here in Phoenix. And her niche is she sells to bars and taverns. That's her whole marketplace. And she said that she never has an order over 48 pieces. So it's very difficult for her to contract out to screen printers. That's what she's been doing, but it's very difficult for her. And she said some of these, some of the reorders might be 5 or 10 pieces, and screen printers do not like to hear that story. Even though, hey, maybe they saved the screens, they still have to set it up again, and it's a difficult thing. And let me add something else about this. The reason that she was talking about bringing this in house herself is she said that, well, her local screen printer either fired or had their one screen printer quit. And now the owner's son is doing all the screen printing, and she goes, it looks horrible. I can't get delivery. And it's funny because every time I do a class, somebody raises their hand and says, hey, I've been contracting this stuff out. I just can't get any quality work because, as I've said in here 1,000 times, there are lots and lots and lots of garment decorators. There aren't very many good garment decorators. So that's when
we've heard that before. Yep.
Exactly.
And it's true, unfortunately.
Yeah. But probably not anybody that listens to this show, because the folks that try to reach out there and learn a few things about their business are the people that care about doing a good job. It's those folks who aren't listening that we're talking about. So I guess we could throw some stones, but along those lines, I was trying to think, well, who else needs that short run? And just about 2 blocks from me is a hand wash car wash. There are about a dozen men and women out there at any given time, drying cars, vacuuming out cars, and they don't have uniform shirts that they wear. They're just wearing their regular street clothes. But gosh, wouldn't it make a better presentation if they were all dressed in the same shirts, and it makes you a little more willing to pay for that hand washing, the hand drying option. And then I was kind of kicking around some other ideas, and this actually came from one of my classes. Somebody walked up to me after a seminar and said, wedding planners are a great niche, and you can certainly sell them more than direct to garment. You could sell them sublimation, all kinds of things. And the example that this person gave me was bridesmaids, groomsmen shirts, bachelor party, bachelorette party shirts, and I thought that is a really great idea. But it's 5 pieces, it's 8 pieces, so perfect for digital decorating.
Absolutely. Okay. Good. Well, if you're checking out live on Facebook right now, definitely feel free to pop in some of your suggestions, thoughts, questions, ideas. We're ready for you. I think this is a subject that Terry and I both love and enjoy. So we could probably talk to people for days on end about niche markets.
Exactly.
And if you probably get all of our shows together that we've done on this, it probably is days on end. So that's good.
Probably is.
All right. Well, so short runs is is the name, huh? So I can play in that arena too, Terry.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, so short runs obviously is another thing, and I think that's kind of just a digital decorating thing in general, and the reason why short runs are important there, and what you want to be going at with digital decorating is that you don't have all that set up and stuff like that. So your costs, with a screen printer or an analog type printing system, you've got all your costs up front, getting everything ready to go, and then once you start printing, it's very inexpensive to print. You're talking, Terry can tell me if I'm wrong here, but you're talking nickels worth of actual ink, right? I mean, we're not.
Right.
It's not crazy. Whereas with these digital decorating methods, you are spending more on your production. So the short run aspect of it, will work across the board. If you're doing transfers, if you're doing print and cut, if you're doing any of these digital decorating methods, we can do that. But with sublimation, a couple of areas that stood out to me is to kind of take that short run, one customer for one thing, and make the job a little bit bigger, and not like 10 pieces, not like 12 pieces, but like one of each, and sell kits to people. So like we talked about with sublimation being all encompassing of a lot of different products, it don't normally focus too much on just garments. A lot of times, you're going to put a lot of other things together. So one of the sets that, I have is an automobile set, and I've got some examples, but no way I'm going to be able to hold it up or even get to it here. But you can do car mats. A lot of car mats being made with sublimation, personalized car mats. You can also do car coasters, seatbelt covers, USB car chargers with a little flap on them, and then you put a little monogram or a picture in the middle of them. For Christmas, my dad got a USB car charger with grandson's picture in the middle of it, kind of thing. So, all those kinds of automobile related stuff. Some folks that I've worked with that are even going so far as to decorating big pieces of neoprene and sewing it together for seat covers or tire covers on the back of like Jeeps and stuff like that. So the automobile area, one of each of these things, or in case of a car mat, sets of these things, but you make it a bigger order, bigger job, that you get more money out of, and ship to one place by doing a set. The next set would be like baby products. So that newborn baby definitely is going to need a onesie, a cute onesie with some funny saying on it, and maybe their name on it. So there's one thing, but they're also probably going to need a little beanie hat to keep them warm. They're going to need, and then they're obviously going to need a nice soft minky blanket to cuddle with, as well as a beautiful fleece blanket that they can lay on and take their picture with the different months of the year. I don't know if you've seen these, Terry, but the month blankets for babies, where then the photographers go and take a picture at 3 months.
Oh,
and they put a little picture frame or whatever around the number 3 that's on the blanket, and they're all very decorative and beautiful, and make for some awesome looking pictures of this beautiful, cute little 3-month-old baby. So baby set would be another area. So
I have a niece who did those pictures, and she used blocks to have the 5 months or whatever. And of course, my comment was, did anybody else notice that baby knows how to spell and with their blocks?
Yeah, ooh, got genius on our hands here. That's awesome.
But Aaron, when you talk about car mats, it just made me think about our products, all the products that we do as personalization, as decorators. People will pay a premium for what they're passionate about. And with a lot of people, they are passionate about their cars. So having personalized car mats sounds like a really great niche and a really great product area.
Yeah. And so one idea you have on the list that actually made me think of when you said passionate is pet products. leash, a collar, bandana, pet mat. My little cockapoo Joey, she's got to have her little pet mat so she doesn't make a mess on the ground, and because she can read and she knows that that's her mat. It says Joey on it, but no, it's more for me, not for her.
Now that you've hung your two regular guys sign behind you, we can't see Joey running up and down the stairs because the light goes on and off and on and off in the background.
She's still sleeping back there. She's just laying back behind me, so she's never very far. All right. Hey, Terry, before we keep going into this here, we did have another great question from Adam, and I wanted to kind of dive into that real quick here. And he says, do you find that customers like the traditional screen printing more than digital printing? And then he says, I'm thinking in terms of feel. So I'll let you feel that one.
Yeah, I think that it really depends on the marketplace with this. There is, I'm going to say like collegiate wear. I think people have in their minds a sweatshirt with the name of your college on it should have a little feel to it, and I think that's more of a traditional thing, but. With direct-to-garment printing anyway, there is a little bit of hand on a dark garment because you lay down quite a bit of white ink and then color on top. It's just not as heavy. But I think for the most part that I don't think it makes a lot of difference to anybody as long as it's a good quality image, that I don't think it really matters that much.
Well, and typically, Terry, you're printing onto with direct to garment, I mean, you could print onto a lot of different garments, but you ideally want to print onto a little higher quality garment to get an even better look and feel. So,
right.
I think that can play a little bit of a factor into it as well. Both sides. I mean, because you need a tighter knit, a little heavier shirt for a really brilliant DTG print. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, more than anything, that really nice tight weave, a really smooth surface is going to give you your best image. Sure. So,
and then Adam, when you're getting into things like transfers or print and cut, that you do have a whole different ball game there. You've got the design becomes critical in those areas because you have to get as much of that shirt through as you can, because otherwise it does feel like this big crunchy piece of plastic on your garment. So, I know we're probably talking more about DTG and screen printing, but I want to make sure we cover all the bases there too. So, all right, Terry, well, what's next on our list here of capabilities and where it takes us?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I mentioned at the top of the show was full color images. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize, because folks will ask me, well, what's the cutoff when you're going to go from direct to garment to screen printing? And the thing about direct to garment printing is you can do photographic reproduction. Can you do that with screen printing? You can. Can the vast majority of screen printers do it? No, they can't. They just don't have the technical expertise to do it. And most screen printers are very comfortable with 1 and 2 and 3 color work. And you know what? You can make a living doing 1 and 2 and 3 color work. That's the bulk of what screen printing does. So for full color images, for that screen printer that has the ability to do what's called simulated process, you're looking at least 96 pieces to make it worth your while to do that. So the minimums are pretty high with that. And as I said, the marketplace has changed, and we talk about that all the time on the show. Yeah. The example I want to give is actually one that I've given on a previous show, but I wanted to bring it up because I was reading one of the Facebook forums on direct-to-garment printing recently, and somebody said, well, I'm thinking about getting into the business. I want to do rock band shirts. And then the response was, oh, well, you'll have to screen print those. No, that's not true, because hey, if you're on the Vans Warped Tour, you need screen printed shirts because you're going to buy thousands of them. But the vast majority of rock bands are if you drove to work today, you probably drove by a dozen garages that have an aspiring garage band in it. At some point in time during the week, they're out there practicing. And by the way, I just have to add this. My daughter texted me from school today. There was a battle of the bands at Desert Mountain High School, and they announced the winner today. My daughter's band won. And she's very, very excited. So
she's going to need some shirts, man. I wish I knew somebody with a direct-to-garment printer.
I know. I don't know what to do. But here's the thing about bands. They all have a merchandise table. They're selling their CDs. They want to sell shirts. They don't necessarily want to make money. They just want people wearing those shirts around. And what they want is real rock band shirts. What's that? It's a black T-shirt with a photograph of the band, and a direct-to-garment printer can do that for these thousands of small bands. And I just thought it was, well, you know how I feel about advice on the internet. The fact that the person jumped right in and said, "Oh no, you have to screen print those." I did have somebody in one of my screen printing classes say one time, "Hey, I'm only going to print shirts for my brother's band." And I said, "Well, maybe that you should expand your horizons a little bit, and make a living doing this." And he said, "Well, my brother's in the Killers." And I said, "Okay, yeah, you'll be cool just doing shirts for his band." But so then I started.
People have that connection there.
But so I was trying to think of, well, who else needs full color images and short runs? And one example I came up with was, go out to the county racetrack. Everybody out there that has a car wants that car with its, 37 different little stickers on it and STP and all that kind of thing on it, that they want that on a shirt, and they want 5, Yeah. So I actually know a couple of decorators that have a stand at their county racetrack, and it's open on Saturday and Sunday, and they open the shutters and they're doing shirts for people and doing photographic images of shirts, and again, just like car mats, people will pay a premium for what they're passionate about. So yeah. Aaron, did you have any examples of full color images?
Well, I got a few, and I think I'd love to hear any feedback from anybody listening in on other, like I said, where full color would hit the mark. I mean, you bring up some really interesting stuff with the short run, and they want a band shirt and they want it to be full color, and I did also want to make a quick comment that apparently STP has won the automobile branding wars, because that's the one you picked out, and I don't think you're a big race guy. So
I'm not a big race guy.
They made it to the masses. But I'm trying to think, more along those lines from the garment world too, where you could take advantage of those full color things, and I think it just kind of comes down to the marketing and what you're doing, because the other part, when we talked to Brett Bowden from Printed Threads not too long ago, those of you that didn't check that out, you have to. It was probably one of our best shows, and just a really inspiring, great conversation with Brett. And but he was talking about how they're a real band. They've been the band guys in Texas, and have grown their business because of that. But he was talking about how they're not just shirt guys. You had mentioned their merch table. Well, right. Make that merch table. So maybe bring some of these digital tools together, and you're going to make that garment, that black shirt for them. But maybe you're going to make some cell phone covers, and maybe you're going to make a beer stein, or right. Just kind of cover the gamut and bring more to the table. That is going to be full color. Again, find those markets. So, if we're talking about sublimation, Terry, I definitely think full color, but I even kind of think maybe like high color, real high end color, real. I'm going to try to pop one more example up. This is a photo panel, fairly big, so we'll see how it plays in the screen here. But as you can, you're too far away from the mic now. But so the photography labs took a pretty big hit when all of a sudden we decided to stop printing our pictures and just look at them in our iPhones. I can't remember the last time I actually handled a printed picture that wasn't from my mom.
Right. In the world of good intentions, and when we're going to print out these pictures,
yeah, exactly. So they had to do something. Many of them went out of business. A lot of them, though, went to sublimation. Some of the biggest photo labs and people who work with have moved to sublimation to do pieces like that. That's a big aluminum photo panel. Mm-hmm. And so now they're doing high color stuff. They're getting into the architectural marketplace or the commercial marketplace. With this photo panel, and I'm not going to show it here, but I can take a magic marker and I can color a mustache on that nice young lady because I'm walking through the arena and I feel like a hooligan. And somebody can come along behind me with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and take it right off. So now, not only is this vibrant, beautiful, nice and glossy, real high color, but it's also very durable. So I can bang on it and scratch it and do all sorts of things and still get a beautiful print. So the real high color area is one area where sublimations really shine through. The cell phone cases for a long time were a big hit, still are, but not quite as big. But those were real high color, and you're right here with it. I'm holding it this close, so the image has to be really good. Another area where we're seeing sublimation really kind of shine is a real high end color kind of world. It is the high end fashion. Every year Epson participates in New York's Fashion Week and puts a lot into it because gone are the days of the department stores placing, thousands and tens of thousand piece orders for next fall in right now, for 2019. Now they're going, okay, I need a couple of thousand of these and I need them in a couple of weeks, or, I need them by this summer kind of thing. And so the fashion industry has really, really changed because now, people can do that. We at Pick the Gift, we'll print rolls of fabric. I don't know if I brought the shirt, but like a burnout kind of fabric. So it's part cotton and part polyester, and we're dyeing the polyester and then burning out the cotton. And that's a real popular fashion. My wife's closet's littered with $70 shirts that she bought that I could have made for her, kind of like, well, I could have, but I wasn't going to. So.
Right. In the world of good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. My sewing is not all that great. But anyway, so those are some of the areas, some high color kind of things that are really driving some of the sublimation. So.
Well, Aaron, it looks like we're getting close to the end of our hour here, so we should probably hear a word from our longtime sponsor, Equipment Zone, and then do its 5 things here in a second.
Sounds good. Let's get that going. Yep, I am actually ready. Here we go. All right, Terry. Well, thanks very much to Equipment Zone, and trying to figure out what's going on with the video over here. Huh. All right, we'll figure it out.
You look perfectly normal on the screen to me. I just saw a comment flash up there during the commercial that said blue cheese from Joe Greninger.
Hey, Joe, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Good to see you here on the show. Those are from days gone by. Blue cheese, and I was blue cheese. Aaron, you were ranch, and the only thing we ever argued about was the proper dipping sauce for the for our chicken wings. So, and Aaron, there you are back again.
There we go.
You disappeared for just a second.
All right. Well, back Terry. Let's real quick talk about what's coming up here, because, like you said, we're at the end of our time here, and we still got 5 things to get to. But just to remind everybody, I'll go quickly through these for me because we've talked about them several times. But digital marketing, growing your business with social media and email marketing, is a seminar I'm doing at DAX, Kansas City, Friday, February 23rd at 12:30 p.m. And then you and I will be doing a discussion along the lines of what we've talked about today, finding niche markets because you're a digital decorator, at 2:20 on that same day. What about you, Terry? What's coming up?
Well, I have my complete screen printing business course here in Phoenix. It's going to be tomorrow and Sunday, 27th, 28th. February 10th and 11th, I'll be at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. I just found out today that event is sold out. So they normally have a waiting list if you're looking to do that class in February. March 3rd and 4th, I'll be at Atlas Screen Supply in Nashville. So 3 months in a row there. And my DAX seminar in Kansas City will be equipment and supplies for the new screen printer, what you need for success. And you can find all my events on my website, terrycombs.com, under tour dates.
Awesome. All right, Terry. Well, we're still working on next week's show, so we'll kind of get to that. As
we think it's going to be a really good one, but we can't announce it yet.
Always do, and so we'll try to get that rolling and get a few things in the works here, so you guys can plan ahead and tune in. But just plan on meeting us here every Friday at about 11 o'clock Eastern. How's that sound?
That sounds like a plan to me.
All right, Terry. Well, let's get some 5 things going here.
All right. 5 things to speed production for a DTG printer. Number 1, pre-treat garments in bulk. You can store pre-treated shirts for months or even more. I know folks who pre-treated or who printed a shirt that was pre-treated a year previous. Number 2, creating graphics. Horizontal prints print faster. So if you have the option, do horizontal graphics. Number 3, print DTG friendly garments, and you can avoid extra prep steps such as double pre-treating, things like that. So just like you were mentioning, Aaron, garments that are specifically made for direct-to-garment printing. Number 4, an auto-release heat press allows you to do other tasks without running back to the heat press to pop it up. You'll feel like you've gone to t-shirt heaven if you're using a manual heat press and you go to an auto-release. Number 5, a conveyor dryer with good airflow will allow you to move faster as a decorator with DTG. You still need that heat press to hit the shirt for about 5 seconds before printing, but those are my 5 things to speed up production. And now I'm going to turn these into an article for Impressions Magazine.
There we go. Those are good ones. I'm looking forward to checking out that article, and looking forward to everybody's comment and feedback on those 5 things. All right, Terry, I think we've covered it for the week. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, other than if you're in the Phoenix area, I think there's 1 or 2 seats left in that class. So sign up now, and I will be working through the weekend just like I did last weekend at the ISS Long Beach show.
All right, Terry. Well, have fun at the class, and we will see you next week. Same place.
All right, very good. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys. Or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.